Hey guys, welcome to Journey of Crafting. Today I'm going to go over with you how I'm going to create my pocket letters. I have two for the Do What You Love project share. So I wanted to go ahead and get this done and sent out because I wanted to at the same time, similar time, announce my project share. So they are not going to be the same items. Missy's is pocket letters. They are specifically Halloween themed. This is her last one before Halloween is done. After Halloween, I'm sure she'll go into different details about, what the different project shares will be. But this one runs until October 31st. If you are taking part in her project shares, make sure that you have them mailed and arriving at her house before October 31st. Okay, excuse me. Make sure that you have them arriving before October 31st. So what it is it is a pocket letter, and traditionally when she does the pocket letter shares, she has you do 9 identical cards, but this time she wanted to do things a little bit different. So what she did was she said, go ahead and make an entire pocket letter how you normally would, and instead of putting goodies in every single slot in the back, then she wants you to fill up 2 slots. So I had already created this thingamabob here, and for this, I used tissue paper that I recently got in a Happy Mail, and I used 1 single sheet of paper, and then I used the tissue paper that I recently got in a Happy Mail. It was already crinkled up and everything, and all I did was I Mod Podged it onto the paper, and then this nice cracked effect. I just took my ink pad, and this is Orange Blossom. I just took it like this, and I went shh all over the dried Mod Podged tissue paper. I will be making another one in this video. This one I wanted to make more cutesy, more, I have a lot of cutesy stuff, so I wanted to kind of utilize it. So this one is a cutesy Halloween pocket letter. I kind of focused on the jack-o'-lanterns, if you couldn't tell. So I used cupcake liners here, and I Mod Podged those to the paper, and I did both of them, but I made them very strategically placed so they were not on one. Every card, except for this one, this is my lone wolf over here, every card except for this one has a little piece of this cupcake holder. Then I have googly eye stickers. This is pipe cleaner, and it's just got purple pom-pom trim wrapped around it. This might be easier to see like this. This is 3 different washies, and yeah. So, and I just stuck stickers underneath the little thing here. So anyway, it folds up nicely like this, and stick it in my little envelope. Well, I'm going to fill in the goodies first. I'm going to stick it in the little envelope, and that'll be that. So my Mod Podge water is still sitting here because I was using this all this morning. I wanted to go ahead and create that before I started on the new one. So my Mod Podge water is sitting right here. This is a 12 by 12 piece of paper that was cut down. Now I'm just going to put it back together, basically. This was a 12 by 12 piece of paper out of the Raven's Head Manor collection from Michael's, and basically all I did with this is I cut all of these squares down to 2.5 by 3. Sorry, I was putting them all back together. So I cut them down to 2.5 by 3.5. After I cut all these down, I realized that I wanted to do the Mod Podge. So if you're going to do this Mod Podge effect, then you do not have to cut them all down to pieces. All you basically have to do is add up 2.5 times 3. And that's how wide it's going to be. Then you multiply 3.5 by 3. And that is how tall or long it's going to be. So you do the 2.5 by 3 because each card is 2.5 wide. Then you multiply it by 3 because you have 3 cards. This tape isn't going to show through. I did make the mistake of using washi tape the first time and didn't really realize it, but oops. This way. Okay, so I'm flipping this upside down so I can see where to align this at. And now it doesn't necessarily have to be perfect because you're just going to cut this all back out anyway. And that's what I was saying. If you know you're going to do this effect, don't cut them out yet. Just wait until you're done with all of your Mod Podging or whatever it is you're doing. When you create a new textile like this, it's easier to cut it after you've already created the textile. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. I feel like I'm trying to explain something to you guys and I feel like I'm just rambling on. So I'm just going to continue pushing this together on top of this little Scotch tape, and I'm only just doing the intersections here because you don't really need all that washi or all the tape everywhere. So I'm just doing the intersections. And I am going to, I'm only going to do one thin layer of the, this is not right. I'm only going to do one thin layer of the tissue because I want this picture to show through. But at the same time, I want that cracked, vintagey, spooky feel to it. So that's why I'm still going to do the effect. I'm just going to do one side of it. I haven't figured out what I'm going to do at the back yet. If anything, I don't know. Then again, I might just do the crackly effect this side and then flip it over and decorate the other side. That way this side is decorated. I think that might be actually what I do. Right now I'm grabbing out of my box because this is honestly the best way to store this right now is in the box. And I have grabbed things out of this box so much in the past few days. It's kind of funny. That works. So in a previous video, I showed you guys what she had sent me. And like I said, I'm just grabbing random things out of here right now. And I'm going to take some tissue paper and I'm going to ball it up as tiny and crinkly as I can possibly get it. Okay. And I'm going to unwind it and I'm going to ball it up again. And I'm going to do the same thing to the other piece because I don't think this is going to be enough to cover both the front and the back. So there's this. And then this is the second piece. I'm just going to crinkle this up, uncrinkle, crinkle again. Basically, you want all of these wrinkles, okay? So we're going to take our Mod Podge here. And I have it set out because, like I said, I was using it earlier. I do have a wad of paper towels here because this is just, well, it was warm water with a tiny bit of soap in there. Not a lot. It's a degreaser soap. So, but anyway, being that your brush is wet, it's not going to hurt anything because all Mod Podge is watered down glue. When you Mod Podge, make sure that you are on some sort of mat that is for adhesive. So this mat that I'm using right now, it's actually a Mod Podge mat. I didn't buy it because it was Mod Podge. I actually didn't buy it at all because it was an adhesive mat. I bought it because it was a heat resistant mat. Because my previous mat would melt. Like if I put hot glue on it, it would melt. I'm like, okay, this is a little silly. So all I'm doing here is I am covering the entire surface of this card with Mod Podge. And you'd rather have a thicker layer than a no layer. So if you have to go back and, you know, reapply, go ahead and do that. Let's scoot this back just a little bit. I don't want the napkin in there, even though the napkin would probably add some texture too. I have done that before, used napkins instead of tissue paper. So I'm going to set this aside. I'm going to open up one of my tissues, and I am not going to do any rhyme or reason. I'm just going to put it down. Okay. Now, I am going to, I'm not really smoothing it out. I'm just kind of pushing it onto the paper on the back. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and I'm going to push this Mod Podge into all of these cracks and crevices because I want this to lay, it will have dimension, but I do want it to lay down. I don't know if that makes sense or not. I don't want a huge glob, so I'm just going to keep pushing and tapping. I missed a spot over there. I went ahead and I dried the other side primarily, and I peeled this off my mat. There's a little bit of ink left from when I did my last project, but honestly it's okay. I'm just going to do the same exact thing. I'm going to lather this, and I am going to push this out to the edges just because I want that seal on the end. And I'm just going to keep doing this, and yeah, I'm going to lather this up, and then I'm going to put the other piece of tissue paper on here and dry it off, and I'll be back. So I've got this pretty much dried. I just looked up at the timer, and just for informational purposes, most of this will be fast forwarded through or just completely cut out. But I did want to let you guys know, including all my yappering at the beginning, this whole process is taking me about 24 minutes. So the Mod Podge does take a minute to do. So I don't want you guys to, you know, get the idea that it's like super quick and easy. It is definitely not. It's probably one of the more time consuming projects that I do, is, you know, the Mod Podge effect. So what I'm doing here is I am trimming the excess off, and I'm going to put it in my trimmer, and I'm going to finish trimming the excess off. I am not going to cut this in pieces yet because I want to create an effect. I was deciding what colors to use. Hello. So if it's sped up and you see me, you know, flipping this back and forth, it's because I kept trying to decide what to do. And if it's cut out completely, then you have no idea what I'm talking about. So basically all I did was, while I was drying it, I would flip it back over on this side, and it's still not completely dry, but I would flip it back over on this side and look to see what I wanted to do, because I do want to ink this side, but I forgot to trim the edges. I'm a goofball. Anyway, but I don't want to take away from the tree in the background. So right now, there is, you know, that raven tree in the back. Well, the raven tree. It's not really a raven tree per se. It's more of a tree with ravens in it. Now, because this other side down here was quite thick with tissue paper, I did have to put some oomph in there with the glue. So it didn't really want to come through my trimmer very well. And you could use scissors. You could use an X-Acto knife. I try to use my trimmer whenever possible because, you know, well, you may not know, but if you're new here, knives and I don't get along. We have agreed to go our separate ways. I use them very limitedly. I use them on like cutting washi tape off of, you know, the edge of my planner. That's about it. And I am just going to wipe this up while I talk with you guys and let you know what happened. Okay, so I went ahead and I finished drying the Mod Podge on my paper, and then I went ahead and dried it, and I also, well, I just said I dried it, so I also trimmed the edges. Now I do want to show you guys something. When you trim your edges and you end up with edges that look like this, especially if you're doing something like this, don't worry about it. Just roll with it. Honestly, if you really wanted to, I don't think a pocket letter would really work that well because you have to have like precise dimensions of your cards. But if you really wanted to, like if you were doing like a flip book or something, you could tear the edges off. And I think that would look really cool. So I'm just taking some of this off. I will actually peel the rest of this off later. I just want to make sure that I don't get ink on my pages from like my project that I did earlier. But I don't know if you guys can see just how easy all of this glue is coming up. It's just, even the dried glue is just like peeling up. So honestly, to clean this thing, you take, I just took a baby wipe. And no, it's not completely done. Like I said, I just wanted to get like the ink off of it, and I will scrub it later. But you just take a baby wipe and use your fingernails, or you could use stick it in the sink with hot water and soap. Excuse me. So for this side, I kept going back and forth, and I could not for the life of me figure out what I wanted to do, but I think I did. I'm going to use this metallic gold. I actually got the, or excuse me, gold metallic. I actually got this from the Target dollar spot. The entire pack was $3. There was 3 in here. It was gold, orange, and blue, I think. Anyway, so you're just going to open it up, and you're going to very lightly rub this across your paper. Okay, just like so. And if you wanted to add more color to it, then that's fine. I honestly did not. I don't want to take away from the tree in the background, because as it is, it's a little hard to see because you put that tissue paper on top of it, but you know that there's something there. And that's kind of what you want to do with your projects. You want to say, you want to create something that people want to look further into. Does that make sense? So I really like this, so I'm going to flip this over and I'm going to do the back. But the back I'm not going to do in this gold. I'm actually going to do the back in black. So this is Ranger Archival ink, and I don't remember where I got it. I think I got it on Amazon, and I'm just going to run this straight across here, get in some nooks and crannies, and try not to ink your fingers. And also, whenever you add any kind of dimension or stickers or anything to something like this, you want to use a really strong glue because you don't want it to fall apart. Because you just created a dimensional paper with this technique. So now I'm just going back over it and kind of getting some of the smaller nooks and crannies. And what that does is it, on the top ridge of the paper, it creates a nice deep text or a nice deep color, and then the smaller ridges on the bottom, they're kind of lighter. So honestly, it looks like either like mountains, or how like the mountains that are really close to you have a nice sharp edge to them, and then the mountains that are further away have like this cloudy edge to them. That's kind of what this technique is doing. The ridges that are closer to you will have a darker color, and the ridges that are further away will have a lighter color. So just put as little or as much ink on this as you want. If you don't want as much ink as I put on there, obviously don't put as much ink on there. I'm going to flame the ink off of this one more time because I don't want black ink on my gold side or gold ink on my black side. So once you do this, all you do is you continue to put stickers or washi or ribbon, or you know, whatever it is you want to do to this thing, that's what you do to it. So I haven't decided which side I want to decorate, honestly. I think I'm going to decorate, I have no idea. So I'm going to come up with some sort of plan, and then I'll be back. Okay, so I think I have decided to use this side and go with my ever so popular in my brain, spiders. So what I'm going to do is, I've already used 2 of these. I think I'm going to use 1 of these on here. I've already used 2 previously, like in other projects or whatever. And I also grabbed these and these. I'm not sure if I'm going to use these or not. I have used them in previous projects, but I don't know if I'm going to use them in here because I have so much black going on. And the gold, oh, by the way, back up, rewind. So I took my ink pad and I just tapped it like this to give it just a little bit of an aged effect, so it's not quite so harsh black and white. And so that's what it did. It just created just a little bit of a shimmer, a little bit of a shine, and gave it a little bit more color. So I think I'm going to do these haunted houses and these pumpkins here, and I think I'm going to use this to wrap it once I'm done with it. Spooky, and then there's this. It doesn't go very well. So an easy way to do that, I'm gonna put my pad back on my, so I swap pads around so I don't blend up my inks. I only have like 1 or 2 of these. I have a lot of the little pads, but I only have like 1 or 2 of the actual dabbers. I just change it accordingly. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to stick this to my finger here, and I'm going to smudge it up, and I'm going to ink the edges and my finger. Okay, so I am all but done with this pocket letter. The only thing that I have left to do is I'm going to ink the edges of each card. The reason that I'm going to do that is because I just chomped this to pieces and now all the edges are raw edges. They are white. And because we put so much time in the rest of the construction of this, we don't want to take away the effect by not having the last little bit taken care of. So I have got these stacked up, the bottom row, the middle, and the top row, because with this particular layout, it would be difficult, not impossible, but it would be difficult to reassemble this if you got them all mixed up. So I just, as I cut them, I laid them accordingly. Okay, so I've got all of my edges inked. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to slide these all in the pockets. And once you, I have glue everywhere. Once you have these slid in, you will be able to judge what you want to do to the cover, if anything, or how you want to wrap it and all that hoopla. Is the finished pocket letter. Let's get that up a little bit so you can see it. There we go. So from start to finish, this took, let's see, 1 hour and 2 minutes and 23 seconds. Assuming that we take off some of the time for chit-chatting, it takes less. But, and if you guys have a heat gun, then it won't take that long. As far as if you don't have a heat gun. So if you do not have a heat gun, then it will take significantly longer because you need to let the Mod Podge dry for a few hours. Now, the only thing that we have left to do is to decorate the side. And I think I am going to leave this pocket very minimum. So yeah, that's it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I really hope that you enjoyed this process video. And until next time, bye guys.